So Lewis, do me a favor. If anybody has any questions in the chat, let me know. All right. So everyone has the InDesign Practice 2 starter file. First thing we're going to do is there's a folder in there called Future of Fonts. Double click that folder. And what I want all of you to do is select all of them, right click, and hit install. And you'll get a little box come up that says install. If it's not letting you, that's okay. Just hit yes. If it says sorry, installed, hit yes. Control A. So do Control A to select all of them. Hit right click and install. All right, hit install. That's how you install a font. You can download fonts from online. If it says there's already one in there, just hit yes. But that's how you download some extra fonts. So if you find any online you like that are free for commercial use, you are welcome to download and install them and use them in your design. All right, let me get InDesign up. All right, what we're going to do today is we're going to practice making a poster in InDesign. So we're going to make a pet sale ad poster. And what I like to do typically before I start a design is I'll go Google. Yeah. Before I start a design, and we're going to look up pet sale ads just to get some ideas. And I always go to the images section. Makes it a whole lot easier. You look up pet sale ads. I'm going to look up cat litter ads. That's what we're going to make. Just to get an idea what's currently out there, what's the competition, some ideas. So you see there's some fun little ones. They typically feature, like a smiling cat or something. All right. So now that we have InDesign open, we're going to create a new document. And we're going to hit create new. Typically a poster or a flyer, because it needs to be printed quickly and easily. At anyone's convenience is typically letter size, because that is what all printers can print, is they can print a letter size piece of paper, which is your 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. So when you create a new document, hit print, letter, make sure letter is selected, and we're going to change it to inches. And typically they are portrait style, so they're vertical up and down. So we're going to leave the width 8.5 by and height by 11. We're going to leave one column, and margins I like to again set at 2.5 or 0.25. I'm sorry. So we're creating a new document. We're going to print. And we can go ahead and name this file while we're here and go cat litter ads, cat litter sales, poster. Sometimes it helps to name your files beforehand. Always name your files something specific. If you have to put a date on there of when it's due, you can. Always name your files very specific, because when you go back and you're like, oh crap, I made that like 3 years ago. Where's the file now? And you don't remember what folder system you used 3 years ago, you have to be able to type in the search bar what you're looking for. So you always want to be specific. Again, we are print, letter size, change your units to inches always, 8.5 by 11, and 0.25 margin. And we're going to go ahead and hit create. And now we have our piece of paper as soon as it loads. The document presets are 8.5 by 11 inches and 0.25 inch on the margin. So our margins are 0.25. And my InDesign's a little bit slower today. All right. No column, or one column, whatever. And we're going to go ahead and hit, make sure your workspace is either advanced or typography. Today, I'm going to go ahead and hit typography because that's a lot of what we're going to be doing. Does anybody remember how to place an image? To place an image, remember, is File, Place. Yeah. Actually, real quick, we're going to do File, Save As, and you're going to save it in the same folder as your starter file. Brandon, this is a lecture. You need to be in here. All right, so wherever our starter files are, we're going to go ahead and save the file in there. Make sure it's always in the same folder. You put your InDesign file in a folder, and that folder contains all your images. So once you've saved it wherever your folder is, we're going to go ahead and do File, Place. For those of you who are learning your keyboard commands, it's actually Control D to be able to place an image. Control D. So you're in InDesign, and we're going to grab this picture of Mac. So we have our shop cat as Mac. And we're going to go ahead and click from top to bottom and drag him over. Drag a whole big box for him. So that's another way you can place an image, is you can grab the image and then click and drag. Another big picture. Now resize just the picture frame so it only fits on the page. And you'll notice it kind of snaps to some of the grid. So we'll snap to the lines here. So you're going to have to click. If your image, for whatever reason, isn't following it, you're going to have to take the bars on the side, the anchor points, and drag them until they click to the edge. And what I want you all to do is to go to View, up at the top, go to View, and you'll see Show Rulers. Mine says Hide Rulers. Yes, I am recording this. Make sure on your document, you go up to View, and you hit, it should say Show Rulers. Make sure you click that because you want to see these rulers that are up at the top and the side. We're going to want to use those today. The image is File Place, or Control D. You click and drag. Control D, as in dog. All right. So from here, what we're going to do, I want you to go over to the ruler on the left-hand side, and I want you to click and drag. And what it's going to do is going to drag out guides. It's going to drag out a blue line. That blue line is a guide. So you can make yourself a grid system. If you're trying to say, I want things to only be so far, so we can move it afterwards. Click and drag. Let's move it to where it says 6.5 inches. And if you're like me, you really want to be very specific on where it goes, you can go up to the top in the control panel, and where it says the X, you can put 6.5, and it'll move it to 6.5 inches. So you're going to, so again, for the guide, you're going to click the ruler, and you're going to go to the ruler, click on it, and then drag over, and you'll see this kind of like double arrow here, and that will be your guide. And then once you release, now you have a guide. So I changed my mind. I can click this one again. I can click the guide again. So I'm like, I don't want it there. So I can click it. It'll change to dark blue, and I'm going to change it to 6 inches instead of 6.5. I want it to be at 6. All right. And now we're going to place some images in here. Actually, we're going to place some colorful boxes. So let's go to the shape tool, or let's go to the type tool. So up at the type tool, I'm going to create a box up here. So I'm going to click where the top left margins appear. I'm going to click and drag. And notice how when I get close to my guide, it will snap to my guide. That's what guides are for, is it helps snap towards, you can help align yourself quickly. So let's make a text box not yay big. So going from the top left margin all the way over to the guide, leave yourself some room. And we're going to say, we're going to go ahead and type. You change your ruler, you go view and scroll down and it'll say hide ruler or show ruler. Wait, what? So click your guide. So click your guide. Nope, you gotta click the light blue line until it's click it and it'll turn dark blue. So drag again and drag it over to 6. So 6. So 6. Or put it, all right. So make a type box and have it go from the top left margin and snap it to your grid. And go ahead and type in there some catchy phrase, some question that matches that. Type in type in a catchy catchphrase for math. I'm typing in what? Litter is on sale? Or litter's BOGO? Question. And go ahead, change your font. I had you guys install Futura, so go ahead and pick one of the Futura fonts to change it to. And make it bigger. And change the text color to white. So and you may have to lower the text. Actually, click the text box and select all your text. And underneath in the control panel will be an A, and then there'll be like this backwards T. This backwards T is actually a paragraph symbol. So if you click that paragraph symbol, it'll switch from having all your information for the characters right at the front to having all the information for the paragraph right at the front. And now we can center it. We can do some space above. So this is your justification. This is your alignment. Align left, align center, align right, align towards spine. You have to click the text box and click and drag to make yourself a text box. All right, so here's your alignment. You can justify, which means it goes all the way across and it tries to space it out where it puts it into a block and the ends aren't kind of like wavy. You can indent from the left. You can indent from the right. You can do a first line indent or a last line indent. Over here, these little boxes on top of some lines is space before, space after, and space between paragraphs. We're going to go ahead and just put some space before. Actually, no. What we're going to do, It doesn't matter. We're just playing around in InDesign. So we're going to click the box, and I'm going to adjust where the box is a little bit. And bring it down just a little bit. Yes. Yeah. So pick something you want to sell for cats. So I put Linux. You can pick, just make a cute little catchphrase. So make yourself a cute little catchphrase. This is just a goofy practice. So you can copy mine or you can put your own in there. But right now I'm trying to get you to go through some steps. All right. So after we create his little catchphrase, what I want you all to do is go down to the shape, so the rectangle tool, and I want you to grab the ellipse tool. If you were learning the keyboard commands, the ellipse tool is L. And I want you to make a decent sized little bubble, like a text speech bubble. And fill it. So up here at the top, you can fill it with white. And then right below that, you'll notice a kind of like a box with a color in it. That'll be your stroke. It already gives you a stroke of black automatically. Just to the right, you'll see the points, and we can change how thick our stroke is. So we're going to add, let's see, we're going to change it just a couple points, 3 or 4. We're going to give him a little thought bubble. And then what you can do, because I want that thought bubble to have multiple little things coming down, multiple little circles. If you hold the Alt key on your keyboard, if you look at your space bar just to the left or the right, there's a key that's ALT. It's called the Alt key. Go ahead and hold that down. And when you hover over it, you'll notice that now you have a double black and white arrow. While still holding the Alt key, click and drag with that double black and white arrow, and it duplicates it. And once you unclick, then you can release your Alt key, and we can resize this other box. So we'll give him a few of these little bubbles that lead down to his head. And use your Alt key to duplicate them. To duplicate, hold down your Alt key and hover over while you have the selection tool, and you'll get a double black and white arrow. While still holding the Alt key, click on your mouse and click and drag. And that's how you duplicate it. So go ahead, give him 2 or 3 more little bubbles that go down to his head. And that way it kind of looks like he's thinking. Notice he kind of has a little bit of a shocked expression. He's like, what? Something's going on? If your text is not completely covered and you can still select it, select your text. If not, you can select your bubble. And what I want you to do is right click, arrange. So I have my text selected and I want to bring my text forward because I want to be on top of that bubble because I made them in the wrong order. You go text, you'll right click, go to arrange and hit bring to front. And now it's on top of my bubble, but I made the text right. Now I gotta go in highlight it, and if I change my text to, let me go back. I highlight and change my text back to black. Right click and arrange and bring to forward. And now you can take your text box and resize it so it fits within your bubble. So if I hit W on my keyboard to preview it, this is what it would look like when it goes to print. We're going to go ahead and hit W again. Now we kind of got him a little thought bubble. So now yes, right click. So you have to click the object and select it. Make sure it's selected first. Then right click, arrange, and bring to front if you're trying to bring it forward. If you're trying to click the bubble and send it backwards, you're going to have to right click, send backwards a couple times until you get to that point. Now here's something that's going to be really helpful. On the right hand side, open up your layers panel. If you don't see your layers panel, you can go window and find layers and click it and open up your layers panel. And you'll notice we have one layer. Right now, everything is currently on one layer. That means whatever order we place items is how they stack on top of each other. So if I am trying to if I look at my desk right now, my desk is one layer. I put my book down. Okay, well, if I put down a note pile on top of it, it just goes right on top. Unless I physically say I want it to go back. But what we can do with layers is we can make a couple different layers. So my desk, I can add clear shelving to my desk. And I'm adding shelves is how layers work in InDesign. And my shelves can hold multiple things, but since it's clear shelves, I can look down and I still see everything. But depending on what shelf I put it on, what layer I put it on, is where it's going to be. In what order am I going to see it? What's going to cover what? So what I want you to do is go to the bottom of the layers panel and you'll see a box with a plus sign in it. And if you hover over it, it'll say create new layer. Go ahead and click that and create a new layer. You'll see now I have layer 2. We're going to double click layer 2. So double click where the name is. And you'll see layer options come up. We're going to go ahead and call this layer background. Always, always, always name your layers. Because when you have to sit there and you have to go through a document and the more you get into it, the more layers you're going to get. You could be working on a 20-layer InDesign document. You need to make sure you can easily identify what is in each layer. So we're going to name the background. The color, what it is if you notice my boxes that hold my text, my boxes that hold my pictures, they all have that kind of blue outline on them. That bounding box has that blue outline on them. Well, that tells me it's layer 1. If you notice, layer 1 has a blue strip on it. Each layer has its own color coding. So for layer 2, we can change it from red to, we have all these options. I like keeping it red because it makes it easy for me. If you want, you can change it to a different option. But I tend to keep it in this like this. So once you get there, go ahead and hit OK. And now your new layer is now named background. And you can reorder these layers. So you can click and drag them, and you'll notice how you get like this kind of like light gray strip right underneath layer one when I drag it there. That means I'm going to layer it underneath layer one. So now my background layer is my bottom shelf. The background layer is now my bottom shelf, and layer one is now my top shelf. So when I look down, the background is at the bottom. Well, I want to take Max and I want to put him on the bottom layer. I want to make, he's my background. So I want to go ahead and I'm going to select his image. Remember, it's selected when you can see all the anchor points. And go to your layers panel. You'll notice layer one is highlighted with the little pen icon here, and the box on the right hand side is blue. That means that's currently the layer I'm working on. And this item I picked is on my layer one. Next to layer one, this is going to be helpful when you have a lot of files and you get confused. Next to layer one, there is a little arrow. Click that arrow and it will drop down layer one, and you'll see each individual item that is contained within layer one. So sometimes if you have a hard time selecting a specific thing because there's a lot big next to it or on top of it, you may want to go here and select Shop Cat. This little tiny blue square to the right of where it says Shop Cat or to the right of layer one, that means it's currently on my blue layer. If I click that little blue box and I drag it, if I drag it down below background and you drop the arrow to background, it is now on my background. And you'll notice now it has a red bounding box. That means it's now on the background layer. It's now on my bottom shelf. And when I'm working, I know this is where I want Max to be. I know this is where I want my background to be. So I don't want to be actually clicking it and moving it around. Some of you might have found this helpful had you known this on your recipe card. If you look at the layer background, you'll see an eye next to it and then an empty space. If you click that empty space, a lock will appear. And what it does is it will lock that layer so you can't move it around. I can't click it, I can't select it, or what I do, I can't do, select it or click it until I unclick that lock. But right now, I'm going to keep that layer locked and the eye next to it. If I'm working and I am working on a document where I'm like, I don't know what the heck I want, I may make multiple layers as different options. So at this time, I may want to say, I want to hide the back. I want to double check what my background looks like. So I'm going to use the eye that's next to layer one. Looks like the little eye body part. Click that, and it will actually hide that whole layer and turn it off for a moment. So you can't see it. It doesn't delete it. So it's still there and you can get it back. All you have to do is unclick the eye and it comes back. 1 second. I'm getting a phone call. All right. All right. So now we got that. We're going to go ahead and place that Petco logo. So go ahead and File, Place, Control D. And start getting in the habit of your keyboard commands. It's going to make your workflow, the process of how you work, a lot quicker. We got the Petco logo, and we're going to go ahead and open it. Control D as in dog. Control D as in dog. I'm waiting for my Petco logo to load, and we're just going to click and drag down the bottom right. So I'm making mine fit between that grid line, that guide I created, and my margin. I'm going to push it all the way down to the bottom of my margin. And when you're moving items, once you get close to that grid, it will snap to your guide or to your margin. So now I've just made a poster. Woohoo, we just made a poster that can be printed. So go ahead and save it. You can do file save, or again, get in the habit of your keyboard commands, Control F. Okay.